cute, tiny, covered in spikes. Most people look at a hedgehog and think one thing: adorable. But nature doesn't care about adorable. Nature cares about function. And hedgehogs have one, a real one. Because under all those spikes is a small, relentless, nighttime hunter that spends hours searching through grass, leaves, and soil for insects, beetles, caterpillars, worms, and slugs. So what exactly do hedgehogs do in nature? Why do ecosystems benefit from having them around? And why is this little animal much more important than it looks? First, one quick thing. If you're watching from the US, hedgehogs are mostly familiar as exotic pets or internet-famous little animals. But wild hedgehogs are not native to North America. Their natural range is mainly Europe, Asia, and Africa. That matters, because when we talk about the function of hedgehogs in nature, we mean their role in the ecosystems where they naturally belong. And in those ecosystems, hedgehogs are mostly nocturnal foragers. They come out after dark, search low vegetation and soil, and feed heavily on invertebrates and other small prey. Function number one, they help control invertebrate populations. This is the biggest role. Hedgehogs eat a wide variety of small animals: beetles, caterpillars, earthworms, slugs, snails, and other ground-dwelling invertebrates. That means hedgehogs are part of the natural system that keeps small animal populations from growing unchecked. Now, to be accurate, hedgehogs are not magical pest control machines. They do not clean an entire landscape by themselves, but they are one of many small predators that help shape what happens close to the ground. And that matters, because ecosystems stay healthy through balance, not through one hero species, but through many species doing small jobs at the same time. And one of the hedgehog's jobs is to hunt the tiny creatures most people never even notice. Function number two, they are nighttime predators in the food web. A hedgehog may look harmless, but ecologically it is a predator. A small one, yes, but still a predator. It eats many invertebrates and sometimes also takes other small prey, such as eggs, frogs, small reptiles, or carrion, depending on species and habitat. That means hedgehogs are not just cute animals in the bushes. They are active participants in the food web. They transfer energy from the world of insects and soil life into the world of mammals and larger predators. And they themselves are also part of the food web. In some places, for example, badgers are important predators of hedgehogs. So hedgehogs sit in the middle of ecological traffic. They consume smaller animals and in turn can be consumed by larger predators. That middle position is one reason they matter. Function number three, they make the ground layer come alive. Hedgehogs don't just eat, they search. They root through leaf litter, hedges, undergrowth, and ground cover, using smell and hearing to find prey. That constant foraging means they are closely tied to the ground layer of an ecosystem, the messy, hidden zone where insects, larvae, beetles, worms, and decomposers live. This is one reason hedgehogs are often associated with more wildlife-friendly gardens and semi-natural habitat. If a place still supports enough insect life, cover, and shelter for hedgehogs to forage, that usually means the habitat still has some ecological richness left in it. In other words, hedgehogs don't just live in healthy ground habitat. They help use it, shape it, and reveal it. Function number four, they can signal habitat quality. This part is easy to miss. Sometimes the importance of an animal is not only what it eats, sometimes it's what its presence tells you. Hedgehogs need food, they need shelter, they need connected spaces to move through, and they do badly when landscapes become too sterile, too sealed off, or too poor in natural prey. That means when hedgehogs disappear from an area, it may be a warning sign. Maybe there are fewer insects. Maybe pesticide use is hurting the food web. Maybe habitat has become too fragmented. Maybe roads, fencing, or development have made movement too dangerous. So hedgehogs can act like a living signal. Not a perfect one, but a meaningful one. If a small nocturnal hunter can no longer make a living in a landscape, that landscape may be losing more than people realize. Function number five, they connect people to the hidden side of nature. This may sound softer than the other points, but it still matters. Hedgehogs live close enough to people that they can turn a backyard, park edge, or rural path into something more alive. They remind people that ecosystems are not just lions, wolves, or giant forests. Nature also happens at ankle height, in leaf piles, in hedgerows, and dark gardens after midnight. A hedgehog helps people notice the small ecology around them, the insects, shelter, seasonal changes, and food chains that keep ordinary habitats functioning. And that matters because people protect what they notice. So even beyond direct ecology, hedgehogs can act as ambassadors for healthier, less sterile landscapes. But here's the honest twist. Function depends on the ecosystem. And this is where the story gets more interesting. Because animals are not good or bad in some universal way. They are functional in context. In their native ecosystems, hedgehogs are a natural part of the food web. But in places where they were introduced, that same hunting behavior can become a problem. New Zealand is the clearest example. There, introduced hedgehogs are considered serious threats to native wildlife, including invertebrates, lizards, and ground-nesting birds. So the truth is not, hedgehogs are always helpful. The truth is, hedgehogs have ecological power. And whether that power helps or harms depends on where they are and what evolved around them. So what is the real function of hedgehogs in nature? If we strip it down to the core, it's this. Hedgehogs are small nocturnal predators that help regulate ground-level invertebrate life, take part in food webs, and reflect the health of the habitats they live in. They are not the kings of the ecosystem. They are not the single reason a landscape survives. But they are one of those underrated species that quietly do real ecological work. And nature depends on a lot of quiet workers. Not just the famous animals, not just the big predators, not just the species people put on posters. Sometimes a healthy ecosystem depends on a tiny animal snuffling through leaves in the dark. And so, next time you see a hedgehog, don't just think cute. Think night hunter, invertebrate predator, food web player, tiny ecosystem worker. Because hedgehogs are more than a face, more than a meme, and more than a pet people post online. In the right ecosystem, they actually matter. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe and hit the bell. And tell me in the comments, did you know hedgehogs were this important? Or did they surprise you?